to our presentation. Today we are going to present about the Georgia Power Company and the sustainability of. In welcome page, we are the full presenter and we are going to explain all the topics with proper references. And in introduction session, we can see the Georgia Power, which is based on the United States of America, and there are various kinds of sources. We are going to analyze by using the Sett, and also we'll be explaining about the cause and effect of the air and water pollution as well. Now, in literature review, there will be a solution for the air and water pollution, and then the way to produce the air pollution and the way to control the sustainability by using the power. In application literature review, there will be a 17 SDG and the society conservation effort, which will link with the literature review in later. In conclusion and recommendation, we will be discuss about the suitable solution for the Georgia Power and the way to control the environment by using the sustainable way. For the references, we'll be using the Harvard referencing system. Now, in introduction session, we can see the types of power sources and the capacity power sources are described by the Georgia Power, which is collected by the 2017 data. And in strength analysis, we can see the strength. The solar and the hydro is very clean and cheap. However, in the weakness, the solar doesn't work on the cloudy days, and the hydro is very expensive to set up. The first one, the nuclear, is very reliable to use, but in weaknesses, the first one, the nuclear can create lots of pollution, and the nuclear create lots of difficulties to maintain the process. Now, in the opportunity and the threat, the renewable energies help to protect the global warming by reducing the carbon dioxide and also improve the health development because of the less pollution in air and water. Now, for the threats, we can see the various kinds of power sources causes the temperature changes, sea level rising, and the radiation toxins and the many other things. On the other hand, the wildlife are facing with the three basic needs such as the food, shelter, and the water. So for the cause and effect of the air pollution, we can see the natural and the man-made are directly affecting to our environment. However, the man-made is directly affecting more directly affecting than the natural. So if we look at the diagram, we can see the toxic gas, the CFC, VOC, carbon, and many other things which comes from the industry, and then which is affecting and killing 2.5 million people every single year, and also affecting to the global warming and the climate changing as well. Now, for the data pollution emission, we can see in the first diagram we can see the carbon dioxide emission, and another one we can see the electric power sector. So it is the data from the United States, and we can clearly see if a country can produce and use this kind of amount, imagine what will happen as a global in the future. So we cannot tell exactly as a pollution rate in the future. Now, for the water pollution, we can see about the 70% of the water is in the surface, but only 3% is a fresh water. But in 1.2% is a drinkable. So there are 7 billion people around the world, and 2 billion of the people are facing with the same problem. And you can see the 1.98 billion and 2.06 million, which are divided by the 2 billion. So all these water pollution happen because of the coal, nuke, and the many others electrical industry which produce the toxins to the stream lakes directly instead of the man-made dam and the others, disposable places. Instead of the other disposable places, they produce directly to the environment. So now, for the literature review, we can see the first diagram has showed the power sources from the various sources and which produce amount with the various amount, and the second one is about the electricity that we use in our daily life. So this is showing about our daily life and the usage of the electricity. Now, the reason showing this is very simple, because if we look at the China in 2017, they started to use the solar energy because in 1960 they are facing with the radiation problems, and they are trying to find a solution to change all the things. So in 2030, China is expecting to produce the 400 gigawatt, which is 10% and as a primary energy, and then which will be 51 to 74 terawatt in 2030 as a capacity. Now, the way to control the air pollution is admired by the Mexican government. If you look at the Mexican government control about the carbon dioxide is very interesting. Now, for the water pollution, we can look clearly see the lake which is full of dirty waters, and then it's happened around the world, and 40% of the world lakes are facing with the same problem. So there is a scientist in Japanese who discovered to solve all these problems. So he started an experiment at the lake, and then he put this mysterious powder that he created, and then you can clearly see the clear water at the top, and at the bottom and the top you can see the dust, which is environmentally friendly to use again as a fertilizer in our land. So there is no side effect because of his invention. So he turns the lake from this to this, and all the bacteria and the parasites and the pollutions are gone, and all the wildlife are back, and everything has changed back into a normal. So these kind of solutions happen because of the only one reason, which is known as the politics action. So according to the Next Daily, the Next Daily has provided a code. When the world is in together, we can change our planet. So which is talking about the about the case from the United Nations who signed up for the 200 countries to protect the ozone layer by reducing the CFC gases around the world. So which is affecting directly, and you can clearly see the before and after images about the ozone layer.
Literature review 17 SDGs is created by United Nations in 2015 to achieve the goals in 2030 with 193 nations. In this presentation, we're gonna use 7 steps to apply to stop the air pollution and water pollution. And first of all, in good health and well-being, to create a new healthy environment, and the air and water must be clean to create the sustainable environment for all living. For example, large-scale development of nuclear plant in 1970 and 1980 has been a key factor to reduce the carbon electricity. Therefore, since 1990s, the nuclear plant has provide to reduce the 2 billion tons of greenhouse gases, which is 1/3 of carbon electricity globally. So, in next slide, clean water and sanitation. Clean water is important as essential. Therefore, when the electricity company produces electricity, the company needs to replace with some stable resource to reduce the toxic waste to the water. In this way, all living have enough clean water. For example, in power production ecosystem, the waste disposal produce acidification, which cause damage to fresh water, to fishery, to soil, and to vegetation. But compared to the other power sources, the nuclear waste is estimated to be the lowest in affordable and clean energy. Having affordable and clean energy can solve not only the basic needs, but also can reduce the waste and the side effects such as carbon, radiation, and electromagnetics. A well-managed nuclear power plants can provide with affordable and high-standard energy, which we can solve the problem of poverty and reducing and increasing the health and education. So, in the next slide, sustainable cities and communities. Being a sustainable community is very important to protect the environment and sustain the status of the cleanliness. More sustainable cities, the world have the better green wall, economic development, people's lifestyle can be changed easily due to stable energy sources. The benefit of nuclear is it require low lands compared to the wind and solar energy.
Applying to solve the air and water pollution, applying this fact can protect the nature climate changes and can save millions of lives, because when the climate is unstable, the food production, farming will be damaged and all the economy will affect negatively. So it means if we reduce the air and water pollution, the climate will change, and the food production, for example, farming will get trouble in their process, and then all the economy will affect due to the climate change. To sustain the climate changes, the air and water is essential material both up and living. For the life below water, it is depending on the water pollution, and when the water is not clean anymore, the sea creature will be eliminated, such as trash, waste, chemical, and etc. So that's why we have to maintain the water pollution for their life. We can protect life below water, reducing waste. Much of the waste that we produce on land ends up in the ocean. Stop using plastic bag usage and ground disposal of plastic is a major cause of marine pollution. And the next one, for the life on land, the air pollution is extremely important when the power sources produce many toxic gas to protect the wildlife, animal, and healthy people using the substitute power source is important, such as solar and wind power. So the protect air pollution, we can reduce using toxic gas to save energy. Society conservation effort is also important for the not only for the wildlife, animal, but also for the human being. Recycle, storage, volunteer, long-lasting life base, and save energy. So the more we recycle, the less garbage winds up in our landfills and incineration plants. By reusing aluminum, paper, glass, plastic, and other materials, we can save production and energy costs.
For the recommendation, we have three economic systems. Sett is fine to use one economic system, and Sett is more. Using the circular economy as a model is super effective and reduce the waste of electricity from factory. The final recommendation for Georgia Power Company is taking advice from Singapore electricity management. 500 years to disappear this number, and if you erase in one minute, as you can see, a country lots of trust cannot disappear one day, but small Asia country in Singapore got a solution for trash removal one day. First, they collect the entire country trash and drive to this building and ban it. This produce electric energy and light up thousands of homes. As you can see, this blogger explain if you burn the plastic bag, it generates the toxic smoke. And as you can see, this scientist turn the filter on the smoke and produce cleaner air around you. 90% of trash disappear and remaining 10% turn to ash. And they deliver to the man-made dam, and that doesn't touch the ocean water. This process is, as you can see, this process is very clean, very clean, and all living are not damaged. If the truck can disappear in one day, instead of 500 years, the world will change the cleaner hole. In this way, the Georgia Power Company can use the circular economy not only to sustain the environment, but also to develop the future energy sources. Windmills can also upgrade to air to absorb the carbon from the air, reproduce the fresh air. The waste can be transformed into a useful material to help the land sea. For the conclusion, the energy power production produces a lot of waste and toxins. Therefore, the Earth is facing with abundant changes. To heal again, the company must follow the creative idea and take effective action to start and use sustainable sources for wildlife, nature, human, etc. This is our reference.
Thank you very much.